long-term Patreon subscribers, we'll start at the New Zealand dollar because currently the Kiwi, the New Zealand dollar, is on the far right of our bubble chart. So because of that, it's quite bearish, the New Zealand dollar basket. So this can fall, and they've gone quite long on the dynamic as well. So the SLC there below is fairly large at 61.69. One above is at 62.50. There's your weekly open. So you target SLC, and then you're looking for, a medium-term target, HR short or HR target long. Near-term SLC probe, medium-term HR target short or long. Okay, so there's your metrics there. So 61.21, 62.95. Because they've gone long, it's given it a slightly bearish bias, and we have to remember the bubble chart as well. Average bubbles, there's the New Zealand dollar there, and there's the USD. Okay, so pound USD, USD Swiss, USD CAD are going to be fairly tricky and quite choppy because of the proximity of the bubbles. They're fairly close. Pound CAD would be quite tricky today because of that. Let's go back. So we can probably fall on this, but if we rally on risk, it can lift it because the US yields will fall. So we've got to be really careful. Let's look at pound because we covered it very, very briefly on our indices video. We quickly looked at the pound and we quickly looked at Kiwi as well. One above, 120.50, one below. If it lets me load it, that's just loading that data, isn't it? 119.20. Weekly open, we've just got weekly open, so SLC above is likely, below then your target SLC, and then medium term there's your ATR target long and there's your ATR target short, and it's going to take a week or two to get to the target. Which one it's going to go to will probably be dependent on this, and they currently are selling it, so we probably are going to come up to the SLC EU, and then we'll look at dollar CAD today. We didn't really look at it last week so much because it was really choppy. 107.04, and there's your weekly open there, and the 106.12, they're selling it, and because we've got weekly open as a support, we have to target SLC. Once we're below, we'll target SLC. So that's that. And there's your medium term target, 105.15, 107.32, possible. But don't forget we've got monthly pivot there as well. So if we do get monthly pivot, that's going to be quite bullish going forward. Okay, so currently is a resistance there, and there's your SLC. So liquidity resistance and technical resistance there. So possible going to come up here, and then we're going to struggle a little bit, and it will come down potentially. Dollar CAD, then dollar Swiss, and dollar yen. Then we're done. Oh, we need to do gold as well because I always forget. Dollar CAD, yeah, we're just very sideways. Look at the sentiment. Wow, this is so horrible, isn't it? It's been a buy since there. So it's 170 pips. We crossed over 50%, and they've held on since. So that's what it is. So the SLC 136.46, one below 135.5, and then weekly open target SLC, above weekly open target SLC. We're sort of slap bang in the middle between the two liquidity areas, aren't we? Almost 50%, almost. Yeah, I think that is, isn't it? 44. 48, yeah, so nearly enough 50%. Well, it's just basically halfway between the SLCs there. But maybe we need a flush. Perhaps it needs to come up so we flush these guys out. So there's your targets anyway, and there's your weekly open. So use that as your bias. And dollar Swiss. Now the Swiss is strengthening, technically speaking. So there's that move. One below is at monthly pivot, so that's very interesting. Potentially wants to grab that liquidity, then we'll have a technical justification for a buy because of monthly pivot. If we have a monthly pivot break, we'll target ATR target short. So I think down here, grab that, and probably could be technically a buy. But however, they've gone quite long on their dynamic across time. because of that, it's one of the reasons why we fell. And 94.50, the yields did collapse on Friday. We really pumped on risk, so obviously had a bit of an issue with the USD. Trouble is, the pound USD and the Kiwi USD were fairly weak, and the Aussie USD was weak on Friday as well. So there was a little bit of a breakdown on correlation on Friday. Even though we pumped on the S&P, the dollar also pumped against Aussie and Kiwi and pound. More so Aussie and Kiwi. 137.12 and 135.17. Weekly open, so target that. Medium term, we're possibly going to come down here. It will depend on your yields as well. So remember to check your US yields on the trading view, and you just scroll down. And so we are negative on the 10-year. Because of that, the dollar yen should be negative. So it looks like it's just sort of teetering a little bit, but it's going to track this. So if this is red, then that could probably be red as well, because there's a strong correlation. And then lastly, we'll look at gold, and it did actually do something quite interesting. We had those 3 back-to-back bullish candles, so that was institutional buying, and obviously we had the big pump. We had the 200 EMA at 1802 as well, so that was going to be a support on the on the daily time frame. Good support, and we've made another buy that superseded the sell. So this one here is stronger than this one. So we did fall, but then they pump price the hour after. So this is now a bullish one here. So this is going to be a support. So we can add a box to that, and this one, wasn't it? So this is going to be a support now, because that's where they pump price, and this is the big fish. So I'd expect this to hold 1848, 1843, and your target SLC is fairly close now, 1860. So we've got $6 away. It might continue higher, but near term, that's going to be a likely candidate. And then we might even go below weekly open, and we're going to challenge this box. Below the box, 1833, possible. If 1833 breaks, then we'll get the SLC. So there's possibly a scenarios where we come up, and then we might just fall. It might be a liquidity probe, temporary support, might break that, and we might come down to SLC, and we've got Powell tomorrow, and then Powell again on Wednesday. And it's going to be one of those things where the Congress are going to ask him why they're increasing their rates, and they're going to ask him not to, and then he has to justify the reason why, and he's going to say, give a list of reasons why they're hiking, and that's going to be interpreted as being hawkish by the banks and their algos, and because of that, it should impact gold as well, especially if he repeats inflation over and over and over, and the dollar might get a bit of a lift. So possibly here, and then might come down here for some support, and then for Powell we might be seeing a break of support to SLC below. So we've got potentially quite a big week, because we've got a $30 move between the SLCs. So first, temporary support, possibly break SLC, and then you've got ATR target, there. So it's probably that's what's going to happen. Up here, break, down, support, bounce. So it's going to do a lot of multiple thing here. I think SLC likely near term, and then that's going to be later on in the week. But I could be wrong. We are teaching 50-50, so it can go either way. The profitable traders are long, so you want to be watching what these guys are doing. They do make quite a lot of money, and they're normally quite right. You don't want them to have an interchange there. So hopefully it helps. We'll have to wait and see for gold, because no one really knows what's going to happen. But the Powell testimony tomorrow could be a bit of a mover, I think. So trade safely, and I'll speak to you guys soon.